What's up, guys and gals? John Rochetta here, and I'm back in the butcher shop. I kid around with YouTube. I have a great time with it, but when it comes to hunting, I get real serious. No more reindeer games here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to reveal what bow I'm using, what are the accessories on that bow, and why. Won't be too long, but it gives you an understanding of my mindset and how I go about choosing all these different things for hunting season. And today is one of the most important hunting days of the year. It's August 1st. Now, we're not hunting today, but we're choosing the bow that we're going to be hunting for 2025 with. So I do this every year on August 1st so that I have enough time to shoot my broadheads, tune my broadheads. If something goes wrong with my bow, I can get it fixed before hunting season. Around here, it's October 1st, so it gives me basically all of August and all of September to shoot my bow as if I'm hunting. When I'm choosing a bow setup for the year, I need to know what I'm hunting for. This year, I'm going to be moose hunting, I'm going to be whitetail hunting, and I'm going to be red stag hunting. So I don't like changing my bow mid-season, so I can set up a bow for moose that I can still hunt whitetail deer with. But I don't really want to set up a whitetail deer bow and then go moose hunting. The arrows, the broadheads, the poundage of the bow. So I tend to err on the conservative side, going with a higher poundage, heavier arrow, something that's going to kill a moose or an elk or a red stag. I'm hunting for all three of them within the period from October to February. So I don't want to be changing a bunch of things. Giving you guys a little background on me. This is the first time I'm actually changing my hunting bow since 2017. Every year I'll go buy a bow and I'll shoot it and I'll enjoy it. And when it comes to hunting season, I always end up going back to Old Faithful. And for me, that is a Hoyt Carbon Defiant. It's a 2016-17 bow. And as you see, I have two of them here, exactly set up the same way. And I actually have a third one up at the mountain house in the cabin. So I'm not going to go into what's on these bows because I'm not using it this year for the first time since 2017. Had a lot of other bows. I buy them, I sell them, and this year, this bow, the Hoyt RX9, stopped me in my tracks. I do a lot of comparisons between Old Faithful bows and the new bow I buy. And Old Faithful has always won. And this year, it didn't. This Hoyt RX9, the RX8 and the RX7, I like too. The bows before that, I wasn't super fond of. All Hoyts we're talking about here. So I'm going to go over this Hoyt RX9, everything that's on it, and try to let you know why I'm using it the way it is. But this is the choice for the year. The bow I'm using right now is a Hoyt RX9 33-inch carbon bow. It's called the RX9 Ultra, and it's set at 72 pounds. So I'm going to be moose hunting with this bow. Super comfortable with it. I'm able to shoot 60 arrows with it without being tired. It's a longer axle to axle than what I'm used to. I've been shooting 30-inch bows for 8 or 9 years now. When I picked up this 33-inch bow, super smooth, super comfortable. It's faster now because the way they built the cams for the new 2025 RX9s. So as far as the bow goes, this is what I'm bringing with me up to Canada, to New Zealand, and I'm a New Yorker, Long Island. I'll be doing a ton of whitetail hunting with this bow, the way you see it here. All right, the first accessory we're going to talk about is my sight. This is an Axcel driver, and it's a 3-pin Axcel driver, and it's got a metal sight tape on it, so I'm not worried about the rain washing away or it peeling off. It's a Picatinny rail mounted sight, and I can use it the same way I used my past Axcel sights, where I can adjust each of the pins. And the reason why I'm using this is I have 3 set pins, 20, 30, 40. So if I have to shoot at a deer that's moving between under 10 yards out to 40 yards, I don't have to make any adjustments. If something's out past 40 yards, I can dial this sight all the way down to 120 yards. Not that I would shoot that far, but I can, dial in a little bit more accurately on an odd shot at maybe 54 yards or 67 yards when I'm going to be moose hunting. I don't like having to do that under 40 yards, but if I'm taking a shot out to 60 or 70, I don't really want to have to space pins. I don't want to have to hold high or hold low. I want to know exactly what I'm shooting at. So this is a major change for me, going to a slider sight. But again, the fixed pins are what I've used my whole life, and I imagine 90% of the shots I'm going to take are going to be with those fixed pins. But if I have to take something longer than that on a larger animal with a larger kill zone, that's why I'm using it. I've been practicing with it, most of the summer. It's super tough. I love it. So it's on my bow for the season 2025. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to talk about is my rest. I run a QAD Ultra Rest, and it's an integrated mounted MX2. You can kind of see it there. I'll drop it down for you. This is a micro adjustable rest, and what it allows me to do is these little tiny knobs here. There's one here too. Allow me to take 1/64 of an inch clicks. So when I'm tuning my broadheads, I can take 2 or 3 clicks, and now my broadhead is hitting exactly where my field tip is. I don't have to loosen an Allen key and try to tap it and move it a tiny, tiny bit, and then you go too far and you have to come back. I don't have to go to my bow shop and deal with it. I do it right in my backyard. Click, 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 click. I can move it back and forth. I actually write down how many clicks. So if I'm going back to a non-broadhead and I want to shoot a tournament, I know what I have to do. Super easy. I've been using these for years, and I don't think I've ever had one fail. Absolutely love the rest. It's integrated right into the Hoyt bow. You can kind of see it there. It's not an aftermarket type of thing. See on the backside. So, love it. That's what I'm using for the 2025 season for my rest. One of the simpler parts of your bow is a stabilizer. I'm using a Hoyt label stabilizer with 4, I believe they're 1 ounce discs there. The bow does come with a little shorty, but I do like the extra weight out front. I've always been comfortable with it. This is an 8-inch, and it's long enough to keep the bow stabilized, but not too long to kind of, screw me up when I'm trying to walk through the woods, especially elk hunting and high grass and things like that. So, super simple, mounted right to the bow. I leave it on all year. I shoot with it in every situation. So, I'm really used to it, comfortable with it. All right, guys and gals, one of the last parts of my bow we're going to talk about is my quiver. Now, I leave the quiver on the bow, and I hunt with it. Every animal I've ever killed has had the quiver on the side of the bow. A lot of people don't like that extra weight. A lot of people take it off in the tree. That's all fine. I practice with the extra weight on the side of the bow. I look at the bubble to make sure that I'm holding the bow level, and I've never had an issue with it. And when I have to reach for a second arrow, it's there. I don't have to wonder where it is. I could be crawling after an elk, and you take that first shot, the elk runs out to 60 or 70 and stops. You have to take a follow-up shot. My quiver's right there with it. On this quiver, the reason why I chose the TightSpot is 1, it's really light. 2, if I want to take it off, I can. Again, I don't always take it off for hunting, but target shooting, things like that, I do take it off. It slides in and out, and it's got like a cam lock system that makes it real tight. You don't get any buzz when you're shooting the bow. Another real cool thing about this quiver is, if you look, it's got little Allen keys here. So I can tighten up the rubber around the diameter of the arrow that I'm using. So if I'm using a 5mm or a 4mm or a 6mm, I can loosen or tighten that so that I can set the tension for how you pull the arrow out of the quiver when you're hunting. If it's too hard to get out, it's gonna pop in your face. If it's too easy, it's gonna fall out of your bow and drop to the bottom of the ground and hit your tree stand on the way. I imagine everyone's done that once or twice in their life. But again, I do love this quiver. Super psyched about it. There you go. Super light. It does have a, a hanging thing here. But again, I hunt with my quiver on the bow, and I will continue to do that, similar to with the Old Faithful bows. This is just new and upgraded. We can't do a full hunting bow review without at least talking about the arrow I'm going to be using. Now, I'm going moose hunting on October 3rd. So, we pop one out here. The hunting arrow I'm going to be using for this year is an FMJ 340 5mm. This one's a match grade, and it's 28 inches long, about 484 grains. I'm using I think it's a 2.5 inch fletching AAE hybrid here, and a nocturnal red knock. So some of the changes from my Old Faithful bows is I always used a 4-inch fletching. I like the way it controlled the broadhead in the front. I can tell you, these fletchings here do a better job. The nocturnal, you saw from some of the other YouTube videos I did, the nocturnal out to 80 yards flew just as well as my standard knock, and if I have the opportunity to see where the arrow's going, I'm going to do it. Business end. Here is a V2 striker made by G5. Now, again, we could argue till the cows come home about whether this is the best broadhead or not. I can tell you, I've killed more than half a dozen elk with all pass-throughs except a quartering away shot into the far shoulder on a big bull elk. I've shot them into dumpsters and they didn't come apart. I've killed more than 100 white-tailed deer with them. So, and they've never failed. They're surgically sharp. It's a 3-blade head. I know you can use an iron will, a single bevel. You can use a rage or some other mechanical. But for me, and the way these fly, out of my bow with my setup, nothing beats this broadhead. And I'm going to continue using it. I'm going to use it on a moose, God willing. I'm going to use it on a red stag and hopefully a bunch of whitetails this year. So there's my arrow setup. It's going back in my quiver, and hopefully this one gets painted red. I put a notch on it, and it goes up on the wall with the other hero arrows. All right. Thanks again, guys and gals. Like and subscribe if you like. If not, oh well. Anyway, peace. Have a good day. I see a nice clean scapula there.
Right straight through? Yeah, right through.
Holy crap.
Like and subscribe.